And it's time for Free Speech Fridays, brought to you by the Free Speech Union, the champions of free speech in New Zealand. Joining us this morning, two New Zealanders happy to speak freely. Maurice Williamson, Auckland Councillor, former National Party Cabinet Minister, and the host with much of the most from HQ2, Leah Molloy joins us. Leo, been a while. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you, Sean. Nice to be back.
And Maurice, well, you're like part of the furniture, really, aren't you?
Yeah,
good morning, Sean, and good morning, Leo.
All right, let's start. Look, we had a lot of fun on the platform this week because we were our hearts were all aflutter. We were dancing in the office when Chris Luxon told us, was it Monday or Tuesday morning, that Amazon are going to invest $7.5 billion in New Zealand and create maybe 1,000 jobs. But as an excellent piece in the Newsroom website showed, Leo, it was all just the re-announcement of an announcement of an announcement. And in fact, the data centre that Amazon started is now an abandoned building site in West Auckland.
Yeah, that's true, but the Amazon doesn't really divulge where they're going to have their centres anyway. They buy up bits of real estate and you can surmise where it may or may not be. And I know that.
Well, no, they do that overseas, Leo. You're not allowed to do that here.
Well, can I just... Should we have turns at talking? You're going to talk?
No. I just wanted to keep us in the land of the real facts.
Yeah, that's how Amazon works. So, and as for Luxon, I saw that press release, and he mentioned that Labor had previously announced it. That's true, but the 1,000 jobs is also true. The $7.5 billion invested is true, and I don't know why everyone, including you now,
Leo?
But Sean, can I have a turn at speaking, please? I don't know why you're getting on the anti-Luxon campaign. What's wrong with you? You and Matthew Hooton. You need to take your meds, get balanced up, and start appreciating a bloke for what he is. I was out two Saturdays ago with Luxon and Mark Mitchell, and they both spoke without notes, and they were both fantastic. I watched them go before a camera, and they both, Mitch doesn't freeze up, but Luxon freezes up a bit. But you guys are on its back all the time, and I can't work out why. It's only an announcement of something that's continuing an investment that Labor negotiated some years ago.
So why bother announcing it, Leo?
Oh, I guess he needed to talk about something. He probably had the media put a microphone in front of him and say, what's going on in the country?
No, he called a press conference.
Well, that doesn't matter. But how it happened to him, I don't really care how it happened. He was just stating facts, and he wrapped Labor into it. He didn't exclude Labor.
All right.
He didn't say this is brand new.
All right, I love it when we've got a bit of tension. Maurice, it looked to me like a classic PR spin job so that he could say we're fixing the economy.
Sean, there's just a littered history of politicians, myself probably included, almost certainly included, where we re-announce things multiple times. I remember the number of major roading projects that we announced it the first time, and then we announced it at the sod turning, and there was another announcement when the first sort of seal was going down, and then you're at the final closing of it. You've got to take advantage of all those opportunities to tell people how wonderful you are. So I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think he did clearly make sure that Labor had been in power when it was first announced, but probably didn't need a press conference, probably just fantastic that it's progressing still.
Well, is it though? And it's over 25 years, but we don't even know if Amazon will be existent in a company in 10 years, do we?
Yeah, anything forecast 2 or 3 years out doesn't really hold much because the world changes so dramatically in that time.
Okay, I kind of rest my case, but the other thing, guys, I'm amazed that you're probably not both in tents with your wives, camped out at the site of the new IKEA store before it opens on December the 4th, which was also worthy yesterday of a Prime Ministerial press conference to announce the date that a new furniture retail store is going to open, Leo.
Well, if he's trying to turn the economy around and give people a bit of blue sky, we're coming into spring here in Auckland. We've got a good summer ahead of us. Hopefully the whole entire country will be convinced that we're going to turn this economy around by sort of Easter time. But I don't blame him for making the odd announcement. I don't really see why people get so preoccupied with it. And so, I mean, what is it about whatever Luxon does at the moment? Everyone attacks him. I think he's a pretty good Prime Minister, in my view. I don't think he does much wrong at all. And if he wants to announce an IKEA store opening, good on him. I can't see any harm to come of that to myself.
All right, Maurice, are you?
Can I write you a quick headline for the 5th of December?
Yeah.
Sylvia Park brought to gridlock, motorway off ramps jammed, traffic backed up.
Okay.
When Sylvia Park first opened, that happened for about 3 days. You couldn't move, traffic couldn't get on and off the motorways. And I'm told now that no matter what measures you try to take in a number of the small side roads off the Sylvia Park shopping centre, the
IKEA thing is going to be like an earthquake hitting Auckland.
What I found interesting was when the Prime Minister made his announcement, he said that he'd had a couple of wardrobes or cupboard sets or something that he'd taken with him to every one of the cities around the world where he lived. And I thought, gee, if I was flatting in London and had a little wardrobe made by IKEA, that'd be the first thing that went out to the tip before I moved to Chicago or somewhere else.
Yeah, and once again, and Leo, you can have a crack at me over this. IKEA says he's so happy that IKEA's investing in New Zealand. They're opening a shop, Leo, to sell us stuff for more than they buy it for and make profit off us.
And your point is? I'm not sure what your point is.
I'm just saying that's not investing in New Zealand. That's flogging us stuff. And look on the paper this morning, front page of the Dominion Post, Weta FX posts $59 million loss.
After how many years of government subsidisation and making ridiculous profits?
Oh, actually, that's a good point. Damn it, you got me.
I'm really enjoying being on the show today. I'm just sitting back and listening.
Yeah, well, Leo's doing PR. Okay, well, let's move on to the next one, Maurice. You sit and watch this as I throw this. And it seems to me that Mr. Molloy is firmly on the side of people who are or have been prime ministers. What did you make, Leo, of Helen Clark and John Key going to watch a military parade in Beijing, a military parade which no official New Zealand diplomat or politician attended?
So you're conflating a number of issues here. So let's look at the whole military parade for a start. That was ostensibly a celebration from 80 years for the conclusion of the Second World War, which was a bit of a farce in itself because China wasn't actually actively involved in the war, but however they were occupied by Japan.
Whoa. Hold it right there, Leo. And I am going to interrupt you. Historical frickin' accuracy. The Chinese were fighting the Japanese, mate.
Well, I said that Japan was occupying China. I mentioned that.
Okay.
So that was their role. That was their entire role in the war. So, but let's move on. They had an 80-year celebration. They invited John Key, who has been an advocate for China and for closer Sino-New Zealand relations for some time, as a private individual. And Helen Clark, I presume, was the same. She's expressed some reluctance about her participation. I don't really judge her for what she does. I think her going to the Rafah crossing of Egypt and Gaza was a bit of a farce, so I'd like to comment on that at some stage. But
we will.
I don't really care. What ex-prime ministers do as individuals, as private citizens, is their own business, really, unless they're there spouting or saying we represent New Zealand, blah, 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 which they didn't do. So I don't really have a problem with it. I don't agree with the authoritarian regime. I certainly don't agree with that fool from North Korea, Kim Jong-un, whatever his name is, being there. But nonetheless, they decided to go, and they went. And I saw that Xi Jinping had photographs taken with them both, so they clearly were. They weren't just there.
Yeah, it was a selfie orgy, Leo. Yeah.
Yeah, probably true, but they were invited. So if you know the guy and you're his mate and you're invited, I mean, even silly old bloody Trump sent a warm fuzzy message from the US of A about it, which makes even less sense to me.
Maurice, is that all it is? Is Leo right? Can we just write this up as a couple of old grifters taking a freebie trip up to China?
Yeah, look, I have a completely different view of the world than most people. I think China saved us during COVID. China's now our biggest trading partner. They're vital to us staying afloat as an economy. I don't think we need to be, up there sucking up to them and saying wonderful things, but we don't need to also point them as an enemy that we've got to be at war with and so on. Let's just stay reasonably neutral. Make the incredible financial gains we make out of the trading relationship. And it didn't look good when you saw the Belarusian dictator and Kim Jong-un, and it was a pretty big lineup of despots all showing up there. And they're individuals, they're private individuals, they can do what they like. I wouldn't have gone if I'd been invited. Not that I would ever be, but I wouldn't have gone.
All right. Okay, we've covered Amazon, we've covered Helen Clark and John Key.
Sean,
yeah?
Sean, just let me make a note here. I side with Morris on this issue. So you're getting slammed this morning. 2-0. 2-0.
Who's keeping score? Certainly not me.
Somebody will
don't
be
worry
somewhere.
about that.
And the text machine is spinning in your favour, you bastard. Well, it's kind of interesting. I think we're going to have... No, we're not going to have a break. Let's move on to the next thing. Oh, did either of you meet or listen to Graham Linehan, the guy who wrote Black Books and Father Ted when he was out here? I had a most enjoyable lunch with him. But he has been arrested getting off a plane in Heathrow for something he tweeted. He X'd.
Yeah, so let me comment first here. He came here for a meal.
Yep.
Twice, I think. The Free Speech Union brought him here.
Yeah.
And I've watched Father Ted, didn't know who the author was, but he seemed like a very pleasant individual. I've watched what's happened in the UK, and I worry because it's an erosion of free speech. And when I say that, I see the head of the Metropolitan Police said this morning they should be policing the streets, not the tweets, and I tend to agree 100% with that. Because if you... do you not agree with that, Sean? No,
I do. I'm glad that a policeman said it, though. It's bloody great that a serving police officer has said it.
Yeah, Mark Rowley, I think his name is. He wants clarity around the law. But anyway, the point is this. If you agree or you subscribe to the values of free speech, you've got to tolerate people saying things that you don't enjoy. Yeah. It's just life. I mean, I think...
Well, look at me. Look at my tolerance this morning for your point of view.
Well, yeah, but normally you slam the phone down on people or do whatever, and I'm just happened to be refused. I refuse to be cancelled by you. So, but anyway, we're digressing a little bit here. The fact of the matter is that the police realise I've overstepped the mark. I see Linehan went to court over there this morning wearing a big placard, which was the usual stuff that he likes to talk about, anti-transphobic type stuff.
Yeah, but, pro-woman type stuff, Leah. Yeah.
Yeah, pro-woman type stuff, yeah. He had a couple of different signboards on, but so he's clearly not too repentant, and I don't think anything's going to come, but I didn't realise he was up on another charge.
Yeah, no, he was going back to Britain to appear in court on a previous charge, and they pinged at the airport, so it was really... And he would have to be, guys, Maurice, one of the people I've met who has been most brutally, professionally and privately cancelled of anyone I've ever met. His life was destroyed. And it's taken a toll on him.
Well, I'm a big subscriber to the old line. I disagree entirely with what you say, but I'll die in the ditch defending your right to say it. I'm a big fan of whatever he says. You can either say, that's rubbish, who does he think he is, and move on. But the idea you get arrested at the airport for some tweets over what you believe about transgender rights, and I mean, where the hell is the world gone when that happens? It's just... I read the article and I went, no, there's got to be something else. He's got to have drugs in his kit, or he's got to be threatening somebody with a pistol.
This is happening now all over Britain. People are being arrested for waving British flags because it might hurt someone's feelings, and it's defined as a hate crime. Well, this is what Labor wanted to introduce here, and the change of government stopped it dead in its tracks. You know.
As I said, I totally disagree with certain things that, like what Chloe Swarbrick might say. Totally disagree with them, but I defend totally her right to be able to say them.
Yeah. Well, I know that Graham's out on bail, so he's a free man, but boy,
he's probably enjoying it, actually.
Yes.
No, you think? I mean, the publicity will make him...
Look, I had a lovely lunch with him. He's a strange fish. Old Graham, he's smart as an ex, very funny guy. In person as well. I don't know. I think he's riding the whirlwind of cancel culture and at the very forefront of the culture wars, personally.
Father Ted was bloody funny.
It was bloody funny. It was bloody funny. All right, guys, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about the Paris Accord and that bloody by-election in Tamaki Makaurau.